Plan, 'cause nobody does it like Thom Abraham, yeah.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond?
Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Top 10 Tuesday edition of the Thom Abraham Show. And, all right, here we go. DJ Ugalele. I said it. David John Ugalele. I mean, the kid's last name is Ugalele, and his first name is David John. Something so basic as that. So he goes with DJ Ugalele. I'd rather he would be David John U. That is the name of the quarterback at Clemson, who I always refer to as ukulele. So I got it right now, I think. Ugalele. I think that's how you say his name. David John Ugalele. So it got me to researching the best names ever in the history of college football. I'm talking about players, coaches, everything. So I found a pretty cool list. It's got like 40 names on it. I'm not going to run them all down, but it'll be a trip down memory lane. Some of the best names ever in the history of college football. Not most difficult names necessarily. Some of them are difficult, but just the best names. Because we're going to hear a lot about DJ Ugalele over the next couple of years. You know, we never were able to say Tua Tagovailoa right at first. Who could say Tua Tagovailoa when he first came out? Nobody. Remember there was videos of Tua saying how you say his name and all that kind of stuff? Hey, Tua Tagovailoa. Now it's Tagovailoa. It just rolls off the tongue. Tagovailoa. That was the key for me, by the way, was saying tongue, knowing that it was tongue at the beginning. And it was Eli Gold that helped me with that. Tongue. And if you say Tagovailoa. Because I was like, Tagovailoa. In the meantime, something happened last night that hasn't happened in 120 years of Major League Baseball. Two teams on 9-game winning streaks met in Atlanta. And it was one heck of a pitcher's duel. Huascar Ynoa, there's a name. Huascar Ynoa was brilliant for the Braves last night, as was Jordan Montgomery for the Yankees. But the Yankee bullpen was a little bit better. And the Yankees took game one of this two-game set 5-1. The game was a lot closer than that score. Yankees broke it open with a couple of runs in the 8th inning. But it was a big hit by Gary Sanchez with the bases loaded. Big two-out hit by Gary Sanchez, of all people. And they broke it open and won the game 5-1. Now, the Phillies did not play last night, so the Braves still have a 4.5-game lead. And they go again with New York tonight. It's Andrew Heaney for the Yanks against Braves stopper Charlie Moulton. That's what I said it, Braves stopper. I mean, he's that guy right now. And he has befuddled New York in the past. He's 4-2 in 11 starts against the Yanks, but he has been very good against them in the playoffs and when he was with Houston. He's got a 3.59 ERA against the Yanks. So this should be another epic game tonight. And I believe that Jameis Winston has won the job in New Orleans. Last night going 9 of 10 for 123 yards and 2 touchdowns without a pick. Taysom Hill was 11 of 20 for 138 against the Jags backups. I think this went the way Sean Payton wanted it to go, to be honest. I think that this gives Sean Payton the cover now to name Jameis Winston their starter, which is what I think it should have been all along anyway. But they had a competition. I think Jameis Winston is the starter in New Orleans. And I think he might have a big season. I think he might have a comeback player of the year type season, Jameis Winston. I think Sean Payton and that staff is that good. Trevor Lawrence was pedestrian at best for Jacksonville. But look, he needs to be the guy there. What are you going to do, put the Fu Manchu in so that you can win 3 games? I mean, why? Trevor Lawrence is your future there. He needs a season of despair like Manning had, like Elway had. And then he'll get better as the team gets better. To me, I got to be honest. My major concern is I'm still in wait-and-see mode on Urban Meyer as coach in Jacksonville. I mean, if anything, I can see Herb back in the college game in like 3 years, much like Spurrier and Saban. If his health is okay, because here's the thing. He left Ohio State because they were cheating. I mean, because of his health, right? He left Ohio State because he had the brain tumor or whatever. He had a heart attack at Florida, he had a brain tumor at Ohio State. Whatever it was, he was having those migraines, those issues. Supposedly, he got that under control. Why would you take the Jacksonville job if he didn't have it under control? So if he has it under control, and if his health can handle this, I mean, Urban Meyer's a young man. What is he, 53? I may have just made that up. I have no idea how old Urban Meyer is. I think he's maybe like 52, 53, 54. He's not an old dude, Urban Meyer. Put the crack research team on that. I bet Urban Meyer's 54, 53, 54, somewhere in there. So what happens in 2 or 3 years when he's muddling around? The dude lost 9 games in 7 years at Ohio State. 57? Our research team says 57. Dude lost 7 games. No, he lost 9 games in 7 years at Ohio State. He'll lose more than that this year at the Jags, right? I mean, if he were to go, what would I don't even know what that record would be. 8-9, I guess it would be. I can't figure out these. The 17 thing is driving me nuts. So if he goes 8-9 this year, that's throw him a parade. The dude's going to lose 10, 12 games this year anyway. I don't think he can handle it. He'll aneurysm, heart attack, and a brain tumor, losing 10 games. But what happens if USC comes calling? What happens if... Now, he wouldn't go to Michigan, right? Yeah, Michigan fan, you would take Urban Meyer in a heartbeat. Heartbeat. What happens if LSU came calling? I'm just saying. I think that Ed Orgeron has at least another year of sucking that he could survive. I don't think they're going to suck this year. I'm just saying. You know, what other jobs are... What happens if Florida State came calling? A couple of years down the road. 2-3 years down the road. 2-3 years down the road, it's LSU. 2-3 years down the road, it's Miami. What happens? Herb. In fact, I've made this the poll question today. Where will Urban Meyer be in 3 years? Jags, college, or retired? I wonder how that's going. I haven't even looked at that thing. Just put it up like 15 minutes ago. Got a bunch of commentaries. Let's see how the poll question's going. Wow, 81% say retired. Wow. That poll question has been, well, I assume it's been retweeted by the radio station as well. 81% say retired, 16% say coaching in college, and only 2% are saying they'll be coaching the Yags. Wow. I'll read the comments later. Phone lines are open. Feel free to jump in the old-fashioned way, 256-576-4977. Just gave that number to Hollywood. Hollywood's like, I lost you. Where are you? And what's the phone number? More on Hollywood in a second. You guys know Hollywood, right? You remember Hollywood? He used to call the text line all the time. Well, I'd have to tell Hollywood, stop calling the text line. You got to text the text line. Hollywood, who was introduced to the show by his great friend, The Undertaker. May he rest in peace. He was introduced to the DFL, Hollywood, via The Undertaker. 256-576-4977. We also have the entire digital doghouse for you as well. Our Twitter feed is at Thom Abraham Show. On the Facebook, it's Thom Abraham. Oh, wait a minute. I don't even know if you can go to Thom Abraham Show on the Facebook. I am locked out of my Facebook account. I am in Facebook jail. I didn't post anything political. I don't know what happened. I am in Facebook jail, apparently. I have had 4 different people working on this. And there is no way to get a hold of anybody. There's like nobody you could call at Facebook. I would quit Facebook right now if I could, but I don't think I can. I got too many things that are associated with it. I can't even go to the station's Facebook account. I don't know how to do it unless you have an account. I don't think you could go. I'm an administrator on the station's Facebook account. So I don't know what happened to my Facebook account. So somebody try to go to Thom Abraham Show on Facebook and see what it says. I can't do anything. I can't change anything. I can't put anything up. I can't post anything. I can't even do anything at the 97.7 ESPN, his own Facebook account. I'm in Facebook hell. Your text window is open, 732-9TA show. My son-in-law quit Facebook. He says the best thing he ever did. 732-982-7469 for those of you that are alpha challenged. Do you guys need me on Facebook? I don't know. I had a lot of friends and followers on Facebook. I think I need Facebook for my shows and my jobs. Text window is a great way to communicate with the show. 732-9TA show. 732-982-7469. It keeps, I don't know. I thought I changed my password. My password, it was saved in the computer. It always went automatically to it. And now I don't know why it doesn't go to it anymore. So I went to log in. It says you got to change your password. I changed my password, and that won't work. And then it says, we'll send you a code. They never send me a code. What's your recovery email address? I give my email address. They say I don't exist. I don't exist. Am I in heaven? Is this heaven or is this Iowa? Maybe I'm not alive anymore. Maybe I did die. And heaven for me was always doing this radio show. So I'm still doing a radio show. Maybe I'm dead. I don't think so. If I was dead, I wouldn't wake up in the pain that I wake up in every morning. The Zone is on the Twitter, the Facebook, and the Twitch at 97.7 ESPN. Online, 977ESPN.com. Are we on the Twitch? We might be on the Twitch. I probably should load that. We'll see. I'll see. Well, yeah, there I am on the Twitch. Good. Me and Charles Barkley, which I just can't get the guys to throw out. I'm trying, but I just can't get them to throw it out. Watch the show everywhere. See if I'm alive. Hey, when you go like to YouTube at 97.7 ESPN The Zone and the show pops up or on the Twitter or on the Twitch or on the station's Facebook, see if there's like chat on one side and nothing on the other side, like just my microphone. And maybe just my microphone on the one side. That'll mean like I'm dead. Like maybe there isn't even me here. Maybe it's just a microphone. Maybe that's why the Facebook closed my account, if that's what they did. I don't know what they did. When I go to recover it, it says, is this you? And it's got me and my wife, my little what do you call it? Your icon, avatar, whatever it is. It's me and my wife, right? And it's still there. Is this you? Yeah, that's me! Okay, we'll email you a recovery code. And I never get a recovery code. It's not in the spam either, so don't text me and say, check your spam. Today, David Moulton joins us in a few moments. You know what? You guys like David Moulton so much. I get so much positive response from David Moulton. He has agreed to join us for the season. So every Tuesday at 10:25 now, David Moulton. Look, Chris is very happy about that. You should see you should see his reaction. I think he's happy about that. I don't know. But David Moulton coming up. You find advertisers out there. You want a good segment to sponsor? We'll get a sponsor for David Moulton. He's tremendous. No relation to Steve. At the top of the 11, Connor O'Gara from Saturday Down South is back with his thoughts on this unholy alliance, which is going to be announced this afternoon. The alliance. The alliance against the SEC. Is that what it is? What are they going to do? They're going to limit. One of the things they want to do is vote as a block to limit the amount of teams that can get into the playoff from one conference. That's one of the things that is out there. They're gonna vote to limit to 3 the amount of teams that could come from one conference. Well, you just bastardized the playoff then. You just bastardized the playoff. Who knows? Maybe the Big Ten would have got 4. Why is the Big Ten in this thing? Maybe the Big Ten could get 4 teams in there someday. Or 5 teams or whatever. So what if half of the teams in the alliance are from the SEC? So what? In the playoff, I mean. If half the teams came from the SEC. So what? I thought you want the best 12 teams in the alliance or in the playoff. Oh, we'll take a team from some crap conference, and then we can only have 3 from the SEC, and you can have 3 from the... What the hell is that? They're bastardizing this thing already. Give me 4 16-team conferences. Give me 4 teams out of those 16-team conferences. Knuckleheads. All right. Over there in that little glass booth, playing the Platters That Matter and the Stacks of Wax and manning the phones, and thankfully did not have to watch the Braves game last night, but unfortunately watched his little brother get hurt a little bit. He'll explain that to us. It's Coach Chris.
Do you know who I am?
Who in the blue hell are you?
I'm the producer of this show. If I didn't step up, you're nowhere. I put this thing together out of spit and pollen.
I'm telling you, there's an embarrassing press conference in that kid's future. You don't ever say that to me. Bullcrap.
There won't be any misinformation. There won't be any false statements. There won't be any hearsay.
How come there ain't no Puerto Ricans on Star Trek?
You ask me those kind of questions, it really pisses me off.
Tom, can you get me off the hook? For old time's sake.
You ask a question every week that I don't know anything about.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm going to choose my words very carefully. I think you're a psycho.
You do what everybody else in media does, just create some and throw it on the wall and see what sticks.
I ain't gonna be buried. I want a taxidermist to stuff me. Say hello to my
Grizz, how you doing today?
I'm doing okay. It was a very eventful night, but, I mean, I'm doing all right. I did not get to watch the Braves game. I did check on my phone a good bit throughout the game. Did stay for the rest of the game, but, yeah, sadly got to watch my brother start last night and play a few plays, and about 6 or 7 plays in, just a weird tackle, fell down on his shoulder, and he actually broke it in 2 places, his collarbone, that is. And he will be having surgery, I think, sometime now or, here in a few minutes, I would think. He's going to –
You got to put a plate in. Well, give the people a context now. A Grissom JV game.
Grissom
right?
JV game. Grissom versus Coleman at Grissom. It was just a weird fall. I saw him kind of wince the first time. I think because he had hit somebody out of bounds, and then on the second play, he hit somebody, and then another guy kind of fell and rolled over on top of him. That's kind of how the play happened, and I think he just kind of landed weird on his shoulder. And it was. I did stay for the rest of the game. Coleman did win, I believe, 28-0. By the time I was, walking away with the last 1 minute left, and they were just running out the clock. But it was still an all-around good game. But with my brother, man, love him. I wish I could give him my collarbone and let him play longer. He's clearly the better athlete of the family, and I wish him a speedy recovery. And I love him very much. And we'll just, he'll be fine. He'll get over it. He's very bummed out right now, but his family loves him, and we appreciate what he does. And I couldn't be any more proud of him, to be honest with you. And I'm just glad it happened his junior year, not his senior year. So.
Oh, he's a junior?
Yeah, he's only a junior. So he still has another year. So at least it happened at a younger age. So
yeah,
I'm pretty happy for him.
Right. Well, I hope that he's all right. It's a nasty injury, but it's just something that you can recover from. I actually had one of those in high school, but mine happened. I dropped my spotter. I was bench pressing, right, in high school, working out in high school, and I was a pretty strong kid in high school. I was bench pressing 350 on the bench, going for the max. We would do 8, 4, and then max on our bench pressing.
Remember.
So I was at 350. And my spotter, I had it about halfway up, and my spotter's hand slipped, and the weight came down on my chest and landed right on my neck, and I broke my collarbone doing that. And it was not a fun thing, and had to deal with that. Went to the junior prom with the Junkyard Babe with a broken collarbone. I didn't have to have surgery to fix it though. It's not a fun injury to have, that's for sure. All right, let's get a break in here. We got lots to do today on the show. And coming up, David Moulton will join us here in just a few minutes, and we'll have a good conversation with him. Every year, half the teams in the NFL playoffs are turned over. So who are the half that are going to turn over? And does he agree with me that Jameis Winston has won the starting job for the New Orleans Saints last night with that effort against the Jacksonville Jaguars? We'll be back with that next, right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
time for your Atlanta Braves morning update.
Braves' 9-game win streak comes to an end on Monday night at Truist Park.
2021 will be a great season of great Atlanta Braves giveaways. See the full 2021 promo schedule and get your tickets at braves.com/promos.
Monday night, the visiting Yankees took Game 1 of a brief 2-game interleague series by a score of 5-1 as New York extended their winning streak to 10 straight, while the Braves' season-best 9-game win streak was snapped. The New York offense got a run in the second on a solo homer from Giancarlo Stanton, his 21st of the year, but the Braves got the equalizer in the bottom half as Dansby Swanson delivered a solo shot, his 25th of the season. But Giancarlo Stanton wasn't done as he added a 2-run double in the top of the 6th to make it a 3-1 ball game. Then in the 8th, after Jesse Chavez came in to replace Edgar Santana, Gary Sanchez added a 2-run single to make it a 5-1 ball game. Huascar Ynoa took the loss, giving up 3 earned on 4 hits over 6 innings worth of work with 1 walk and 9 strikeouts. Meanwhile, Jordan Montgomery picked up the victory as he held the Atlanta offense to 1 run on 2 hits over 5 innings with 4 walks and 2 strikeouts. Braves and Yankees will wrap up their 2-game series coming up tonight as it'll be Charlie Morton taking on Andrew Heaney. And as always, hear all the action right here on the Braves Radio Network. First pitch is set for 7:20 Eastern. I'm Kevin McAlpin, and this has been your Braves Radio Network Morning Update.
This is your home for Freddie Freeman and your 2021 Atlanta Braves as they battle it out down the stretch.
Ozzie whacks one high in the air, deep right center field, rising back toward the wall, and this one is gone.
Tonight, it's an interleague showdown at Truist Park as the Braves take on Aaron Judge and the American League East New York Yankees. Braves Radio goes on the air at 6:05 Eastern, 5:05 Central on the Braves Radio Network.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner of University Kia, here letting you know we are proud supporters of Madison Academy football. And a quick shout out to my son, Avery Seaton, number 19. Stop into University Kia today and shop our large selection of new Kias, including our all-new Telluride 8-passenger SUV, the stylish new K5, and the sporty new Seltos. Visit universitykia.com to view all our great offers and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia today, because we want to see you in the Kia. Go Mustangs!
TOC Sports has been there for you. Now, you're probably asking yourself, what does that mean? It means for more than 20 years, Alabama's largest orthopedic group has been there providing coverage and care to more schools and student athletes in the Tennessee Valley than any other group. It means whether you are the star football player, the all-region volleyball ace, or someone who hurt their knee in a weekend pickup basketball game, TOC Sports physicians are proud to have the opportunity to care for all your orthopedic needs. It means for parents, coaches, athletes, desk jockeys, or even weekend warriors, TOC Sports physicians continue to meet and exceed the orthopedic and sports medicine needs of our community. But most importantly, during these challenging times, we're here for you now, and will continue to be here. So as long as there are players on the field, games to be played, and contests to be won, the orthopedic specialists from TOC Sports will be ready to help. We don't know what the future holds, but you can count on the TOC Sports team to stay committed to you, so you can stay in the game. Call 256-539-2728 today and ask to see a TOC Sports physician. Check them out online, also Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Thom Abraham here for my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
Brooks & Collier has always been about making the most of your outdoors. Our lush greenhouse and new furniture ideas will inspire you, but we're also about value. Our brands are so handsome, they'll make themselves comfortable inside or out, and so well made, they'll weather the weather for many years to come. Our staff can consult you on the right choices, and Lucy for sure can show us the sofa that's the most comfortable. Make the most of your outdoors. Meridian Street and at brooksandcollier.com.
Drinking coffee straight from the pot. Power move. Wearing a bathrobe to work. Power move. Switching to super fast, extra reliable internet from WOW. Power move. Switch and save with WOW Internet for just $19.99 a month. It's switching season, so make a move with our best deal of the year. Get the speed you need starting with Internet 100 for just $19.99 a month. Plus, ask how to get $200 on us. Sign up at wowway.com today.
Wow.
Limited to new customers with auto pay and paperless billing. Offer subject to change. Restrictions and terms apply.
From the WZDX Pinpoint Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly sunny sky this afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the lower 90s. Heat indices climbing into the upper 90s, lower triple digits. No rain in the forecast. That's going to stick with us as we head into the overnight. Temperatures dropping into the lower 70s, a clear sky. We're essentially going to repeat this process for your Wednesday. A mostly sunny sky. Temperatures hanging out in the lower 90s. Heat indices hanging out in the upper 90s and lower triple digits with no rain. Next opportunity for rain doesn't move into the Tennessee Valley until we get to Thursday. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Steve Moulton from The Drive. Be sure and join us today from 5 to 7 with Wes Neighbors and me. Now back to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Wait. I can't have a Steve Moulton rejoiner when I've got David Moulton coming on the show. The heck is that? Very confusing. By the way, this just minutes ago. Auburn defensive coordinator Derek Mason has recovered, he said, from a breakthrough bout with COVID-19. I'm not 100% sure what that means. I think I know what breakthrough means. That means if you're vaccinated and you get it, that you, that's a breakthrough, I think. What's a breakthrough case? I think he got it, and he was he is vaccinated. Okay. He said in the release that he was vaccinated. He got it. He's fine. He said 2 family members die from the COVID, and he has a daughter that is immune compromised, making her susceptible to the virus. So Mason is at practice, and he's good, even though Brian Harsin, who, let's just say it, okay? Brian Harsin did not get the vaccine. He's not vaccinated. Let's just say it. Brian Harsin wouldn't have had to be tested if he was asymptomatic. He wouldn't have had to be tested if he was vaccinated. They don't test vaccinated people who don't have symptoms. And he wouldn't be in a 10-day, confinement if he was vaccinated. They don't do that. So, Harsin could say whatever, it's personal to whatever. We know now Brian Harsin did not get the vaccine. Good leadership there, Brian Harsin. All right, joining us now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline from the SEC and CBS and the NFL on Fox, David Moulton. David, welcome back. How are you?
Good, Tom. How are you?
Fired up a little bit.
Well, when aren't you fired up?
Good point. It's a good point. I make up for a lack of talent with energy. You know me for 20 years.
Yep. That is true, Tom. You and I both. Not a lot of talent, a lot of effort and energy. Yes.
Effort and energy overcoming. Now, talent would be our little friend Damon Amendolara, who's now national radio host on CBS. Right? He worked with us too, so he's got talent and energy. But you and I, we just got energy. Oh man. All right, couple of things. First of all, I want to get to that story that we left off where we dropped off last week, which was, the half of the NFL teams that could make the playoff that didn't make the playoff last year and the teams that they will replace. But before we get there, I am of the opinion that Jameis Winston did exactly what Sean Payton wanted him to do, which is win that job last night. Is it seem clear to you now that Jameis Winston will be the starter in New Orleans?
Yes, because it's difficult to imagine someone doing everything that he's been asked to do in the last year and performing the way he has. I thought he outperformed Taysom in both preseason games, only by a little bit in the first one, but clearly last night. And he brings the downfield part of the passing game that, quite frankly, they haven't had for a long time because Breeze's arm was limited the last few years. And I would think that that Sean, despite the elements that Taysom brings, that Jameis doesn't, that the downfield passing game will override all that, and Sean will go, yeah, I'm going to go with the big fella.
And you'll still see Taysom Hill doing what Taysom Hill did when Drew Brees was there. I mean, he'll have that element. He'll bring that element. And that's what concerns me about some of the guys that are mobile quarterbacks, that do some things that are shock plays, wow plays. I think Justin Fields has a chance to be a really, really good quarterback. But what we have seen, most of the things that people on social media go nuts about are broken plays, are plays where he does things athletically against defenses that are not game planning for him, that are not schematically, they don't have any tape on them, and so on. And those things won't carry you. Ultimately, you got to do what Jameis Winston looks like he's doing, which is, be able to play from the pocket.
Would it surprise anyone if Sean Payton ran a little bit of Urban Meyer and Dan Mullen's 2006 offense with the Florida Gators, where Chris Leak was the quarterback until the red zone and until 3rd and 4th and 1, and Taysom Hill oftentimes was the red zone and short yardage quarterback? And they won a national championship with it.
Isn't that what Sean Payton's done for the last couple of years, really, with Taysom Hill in there? He's done that. We've seen a lot of it.
Hurt. Yeah. Breeze got hurt twice, though. He missed 3 games last year. He missed 5.5 the year before. So Sean's had to kind of, improvise a little bit. But I think he may do it by design, where Jameis is his guy, and then there will be about 20% of the game in which he goes, I kind of like the offense I can run with Taysom here.
Yeah. I agree, and I also think that Jameis Winston from Bessemer, Alabama, I also think that Jameis Winston has a real live shot at being the NFL's comeback player of the year. I mean, the dude did throw for 5,000 yards and 35 touchdowns, at Tampa. He just also threw 35 interceptions or 33 interceptions, whatever it was. So I think that he has the potential with Sean Payton to be that kind of a guy. I still think he could. I think he could have a huge year.
I agree if he can keep the weapons around him healthy. I mean, he's going to be without Michael Thomas for the first 6 games, it looks like. And I will say the guy he hooked up with twice last night, that might be a nice fantasy play right there.
Yeah.
Because he could end up being their number 1 receiver for the first part of the season.
In Chicago, Andy Dalton has been named a starter. He will not play in the final preseason game, which is against the Titans, which is just going to be more fuel on the fire of the fans because they're going to get to see what Justin Fields looks like as a starter against that Titans team that we'll see that will be resting most of their starters. Having said that, when you look at the way the season goes for the Rams, the way that opens up, or for the Bears, they open at the Rams. Outstanding defense. Is that where you want Justin Fields? No. Then they get the Bengals at home, for sure, but then they go to the Browns, great pass rush. Have the Lions at home, yeah, that wouldn't be bad. At the Raiders, then the Packers, then the Buccaneers. It seems to be they have a brutal start to their season for the most part. I could see a scenario where you wouldn't see them at least until maybe the Lion game. Maybe 3rd or 4th game of the season. Maybe he goes against the Lions, the Raiders, and by the time to get to the Packers, he's had a couple of games under his belt. That's if Andy Dalton isn't playing well.
Well, I don't know if anyone's going to play well behind that offensive line. It could be the worst in the league. I mean, I think it's going to be bottom 3. So I really don't know who's going to perform well behind it. They've got 1 above-average running back. They have 1 excellent wide receiver and an awful offensive line. I don't know who's going to look good behind it. The one thing, though, Tom, I don't think you can decide when to play Justin Fields based on your opponent. I mean, it's the NFL. At some point, either the kid's going to play or he's not. I know what you're getting at. You get to about week 6 for their schedule, and they start playing some of the upper echelon teams or defenses in the league back to back to back. Green Bay, Tampa Bay, San Francisco, Pittsburgh, Baltimore. I mean, that's a 5-week stretch in a row there. So to me, if you're worried about who it is they're playing, you got to get them in before that. That's not the time to be putting them in. Either you go week 3, week 4, or you might as well wait to the Lions on Thanksgiving. I have a feeling they're going to play Dalton through the first 2 games because the second game is Cincinnati at home. That will be a very personal game to Dalton. When they signed Dalton in March, they hadn't drafted Fields yet in late April. They promised Andy he was the guy. I think they want to at least the first 2 weeks, and then after that, all bets are off. You're a Browns fan. When did Baker Mayfield play? Week 3. Now, it was by injury, but it was week 3, and he was going to play pretty soon thereafter, even if Tyrod hadn't gotten hurt. I mean, I don't think it matters. You know, week 1, week 3, week 5, whatever. I mean, he's the future. He's going to play. But that line's going to get everybody killed this year.
That's why I wait one more week. You know, I don't know that starting him at the Browns, you know, with with Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney and that improved defense. I don't know that that's the spot, but the next 2 after that are Lions at home and Raiders on the road. That might be the spot. And then you get him, you know, then he's got 2 games under his belt before he plays the Packers and has that gauntlet. But I guess time will tell, and we'll see with Andy Dalton. I don't think Andy Dalton's the worst quarterback in the world, but you're right about that offensive line, which makes it must wonder. They were a playoff team last year. How the hell did Matt Nagy get this team in the playoffs last year with Mitchell Trubisky, who supposedly is the worst quarterback ever and looked great under the coaching of Brian Daboll and the guys in Buffalo against this Bears team? And somehow Nagy got these guys into the playoffs last year. So
but he got them in at 8-8, and he got them in because Arizona lost 5 of their last 7, and the Vikings threw up all over themselves. I mean, they backdoored their way into the playoffs. But yes, 3 years he's yet to have a losing season, and yet everybody thinks that he and the GM are on their way out the door.
We have a poll question up which has stunning results to me. I'm of the opinion that Urban Meyer, I got less concern about Trevor Lawrence, who didn't look great last night, but I got less concern about Trevor Lawrence than I do about Urban Meyer. I think the reason Herb left Ohio State, regardless of whatever could have been coming down the pike, it was health reasons. He left Florida, health reasons. If he coaches a couple of years at Jacksonville and his health is fine and he's 58, 59 years old, and some big-time college job starts hunting him, I could see this dude doing a Saban, doing a Spurrier, and headed right back to the college game. So I put up a poll question: where will Urban Meyer be in 3 years? Coaching the Jags, coaching in college, or retired? 82% of our respondents, and this is getting a lot of play, 82% of our respondents say he's going to be retired in 3 years. 14% say coaching in college, and 3.5% say coaching the Jags. What's your take on Urban Meyer? Is this his entree back to the college game, or will he be retired in 3 years?
Well, I could make the argument if he can make it to 2023, I think he might be okay. I don't know how Herbs is going to make it through the next 2 years. I mean, this is a guy who, had the 7-5 season in Florida and retired.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't even think they were 7-5. They went to the SEC championship game, and then he had the heart attack.
No. Well,
did he go?
But he retired for a day. Then
and he came back.
Remember, he did coach in 2010.
Right, I forgot he did
with
come
the
back.
Gators.
Yeah, right.
And I think they went 7-5. But he, that was enough losing for him. I don't know if he can handle the losing, because he's literally. I mean, what's his worst season? That at Florida, and then he had like a 3-loss season at Bowling Green. I mean, honestly, this guy has never lost the way he's going to lose this year.
David,
they'll be lucky to win 5 games.
He had 9 losses in the last 7 years. If he has 9 losses this year, they'll throw him a parade. If he goes 8-9,
exactly,
he's coach of the year
at 8-9.
He's coach of the year, right? Right. He's going to lose double-digit games no matter what. This season, he lost 9 games in 7 years at Ohio State. But can you see?
Me, I'll gamble and say he's going to be coaching the Jags, because in theory, by 2023 and 2024, they're going to be good with a top 10 quarterback in the league. But it's just a matter of, can he make it through these next 2 years? I mean, because he could have like a Jimmy Johnson first 2 years. Jimmy went 1-15, and then Jimmy went 7-9, where they turned it around in the second half of the year. I think they won 4 of their last 7, and it was kind of like, okay, there might be a little something going on here. Because that's kind of what I'm thinking for Jacksonville. First year and a half, they're not going to be good.
I'm just thinking in a couple of years, will the Miami job open? Would he be interested in that? Would he be interested in Florida State? He's not going to Michigan, but you think of some of the other places that could open up in a few years.
I think the only college job,
LSU?
Or not, I think the only college job that he would take, because he would only go to a place where he knew he could walk right in and win immediately, I think would be USC. Because if you look at who's at the certain jobs, you don't envision Texas and a lot of other places. Mullen's entrenched at Florida, and he wouldn't go back. Day is entrenched at Ohio State. Kelly's entrenched at Notre Dame. The job that if he's looking for a landing spot, I think it would be USC. I think this is his last job for what it's worth, and he goes back to the broadcast booth.
See, I don't think that
whenever it's done.
I don't think that Ed Orgeron could survive 2 more bad seasons. I think he could survive 1, and I don't think they will have bad seasons. I'm not saying that. But if Ed Orgeron had another couple of seasons that were bad, he's going to get blown out, and that LSU job to me would look attractive to Urban Meyer, I think. Especially with Alabama moving to the east, if that happens that way.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
That would have to happen. I think Urban would be like, it intrigues me. So how's that realignment talk going?
Well, it'd be about the right time, right? It'd be about SEC expansion about 2025, 2024. We know it'll be sooner than that, for sure. David Moulton with us here. All right. In the NFL, we tease this. We know that there are going to be half the teams get turned over, or close to half the teams get turned over, from one season to the next. So in the AFC, Patriots out, Texans out last year, Cleveland and Pittsburgh in, and the Colts are the that extra team now that the playoffs have been expanded. So if you look at last year's playoff field of Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Cleveland, Tennessee, Indianapolis, Kansas City. We're talking AFC right now. Who misses this year and who replaces them?
Well, I think Pittsburgh won't make the playoffs. Okay. And I think New England's making the playoffs.
Okay.
I really do.
With Cam Newton, right? I mean, Cam looked – I mean, now he's sick, so we don't know, what that does. But Cam has looked really good. As good as Mac has looked. Cam looks pretty good.
Yeah, this whole COVID misunderstanding may cost Cam big time. First off, if I was a head coach, I would not have a sense of humor about a quarterback who's refusing to get the shot.
Right.
Okay, because I would look at the quarterback and go, you're the leader of the team. This isn't about you. I don't really care what your views are on this. You need to get the shot, okay, for the team. It's the same way as what you just mentioned with the Auburn head coach. If I was his AD, I would look at him and go, so you're asking all of your players to make all of these sacrifices for the team, and then you're going to stand here and put everybody at risk because of something that you believe personally. That's not leadership. I don't care that you don't want it. Get the damn shot. Okay? I mean, that's how I feel. That if you're putting yourself in this position as a coach, as a quarterback, all right, then you have to make sacrifices. This I would consider a sacrifice. You're doing something you don't want to do for the sake of the team, of the organization. That's how I look at it. I could be wrong. The playoffs. I mean, so one of those other teams in the AFC West really should make a strong play for the playoffs because they got the benefit of the doubt with the schedules.
And the Raiders were close last year. The Raiders were close, and the Chargers look good.
Here's the thing about the Raiders, though. Their closing stretch. They play the Cowboys on Thanksgiving, Washington, at Kansas City, at Cleveland, Denver, at Indianapolis, the Chargers. All right? It's a tough closing stretch. They need to get it done in the division late. Gruden's teams the last 2 years have gone 1-5 and 2-5 down the stretch. Raiders have to finish.
All right, so let's put one more team in from the AFC West. Who are you kicking out? Cleveland, Baltimore, Tennessee, Indianapolis.
I'd probably kick out Indianapolis, even though they're a very solid team and they're one of the few teams in the league that was top 10 in offense, defense, and special teams. But the Wentz factor is that's a huge unknown.
Wild card, yeah. I mean, it's a big wild card, no pun intended.
I also think that, who got Julio Jones? Tennessee.
Right.
I thought Indy needed him also. So, to me, in fact, Indianapolis should be one of those teams along with New England that if Cleveland's really entertaining the idea of getting rid of Odell, I think either one of those two teams should take the flyer on them.
Yeah. Well, that'd be interesting. That wouldn't happen to the end of the season, I don't think. I think they really want to see if Odell can fit in and not be an annoyance for Baker. Baker Mayfield plays better without Odell. I mean, this is a alpha male in the huddle type of thing. When I watched that team, and Baker was able to take that team as his own once Odell left the huddle. And so we'll see whether Odell now comes in with a little bit of a different attitude. All right, we'll do the NFC next week, and we'll kick some teams out of the playoffs and enter some teams into the playoffs next week, and we'll get that done. David Moulton with us now on Tuesdays. Yes.
Very quickly, if you want to take a flyer on an AFC West team, the Broncos start with the Giants, the Jags, and the Jets.
I just can't get behind.
The Denver
Teddy.
Broncos
Did they name a quarterback yet? Teddy's. If they name Teddy, I like Teddy better than I do Drew Lock a little bit. But that's, because Kemistroli is Teddy's mentor. So, maybe that's why I feel that way. But I am a Teddy Bridgewater fan. So, I think he might win a job.
I think Denver's going to choose Teddy because they're looking at those first 3 games and going, we just need a quarterback who's not going to lose us a game.
Yeah.
Giants, Jags, Jets. Vic Fangio needs the win or he's fired. Those are 3 wins the schedule maker just gave you. Now go get them.
Where's the Giants game?
First 2 are on the road, Giants and Jags, and then home for the Jets.
Well, Giants have that one circled too. See, I think the Giants could be pretty good. I think if Saquon Barkley is right, I think the Giants can be a bounce-back team this year. This might be the year for Daniel Jones. It might be the year that they get things going in the right direction.
Shaky offensive line, and Saquon's not going to be right early. Maybe right late. Saquon in fantasy, along with Trey Lance, guys who could win you a championship in the second half of your year, probably not going to win it for you in the first half.
God, Trey Lance. I got to see so much more. Trey Lance. I mean, if Jimmy G's healthy, he's one of the best quarterbacks out there winning-wise. If he's healthy. All right? I'm just saying. I know he's never healthy, but, man, if he's healthy, 24-8, a Super Bowl, 99 quarterback rating.
Tom. They won an NFC championship game. He threw the ball 8 times.
Well,
okay, give me a
whatever
break.
it
By
takes.
the way, here's also, come the playoffs, fantasy football playoffs, you know who the 4 defenses the Niners are going to face? The Bengals, the Falcons, the Titans, and the Texans. Weeks 14 through 17. Trust me, for your fantasy football playoffs, you're going to want to have the San Francisco 49ers quarterback.
Just kind of store them away, is what you're saying. Take them in late round in your fantasy draft and just store them away off to the side over there.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, man.
Pick them as your backup and hold on to them.
I appreciate you so much. We need Grizz, we need a skinny David Moulton pitcher. I don't want the fat-faced David Moulton pitcher on the video feed of the show. I want a skinny-faced David Moulton. There must be one out there, David. You lost 40 pounds when you had the cancer. I mean, come on.
Not from this century, there's not.
All right, man. Appreciate you. We'll talk next week.
All right. Take care, everybody.
All right, we're going to break in here. Come back. Wrap up hour number 1 next on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Chad, cue the cheesy Italian music. So you're in charge of the dinner spot, and the family is a hard group to please. Dad wants award-winning 21-day-age certified Angus beef. Mom craves authentic Italian food like great-grandma. Sissy pretty much won't eat anything but fresh seafood. And old life of the party, Uncle Walter, likes to enjoy a cigar after dinner with some live local entertainment and some killer cocktails. So you think you're in a pickle? Well, you're not. Relax. I'm Tom Chapman, chef at Nick's Ristorante at 10300 Bailey Cove Road, just south of Weatherly. We have all that and more. Our friendly and helpful staff is eager to help you Tuesday through Saturday, starting at 5. So, corral that crazy crew of yours and give us a call at 256-489-8280 or tell them to check us out at nicksristorante.com. I promise you, the gang will all think you're a culinary cruise director of awesomeness if you take them all to Nick's. See you soon. Ciao. Okay, Chad, kill that music.
Nix is for patrons 19 or older.
In today's real estate market, you need the right professionals to help make sure your home purchase is smooth and hassle-free. That's where Jacob Title comes in. Stan McDonald and the staff at Jacob Title cater to the realtor and clients who are looking for a top-flight closing experience. Jacob Title uses the latest and best technologies to ensure a safe and secure exchange of funds, and they pride themselves on great communication well before and during the real estate closing process. Jacob Title in Huntsville and Madison, and online at jacobtitle.com.
Listen to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton.
You were a young coach once, and you were hired by a future senator. I have to talk to a lot.
How about that?
Comes on our show a lot. Did you ever think he'd be a senator?
You know what? I was one of the few people that always did. Tom, hey, me and Tommy Tuberville were graduate assistant coaches. We went to Kentucky Fried Chicken. We got the 4-piece dinner, and we fought for the breast. And I'm going on radio right now saying most time I got it. But you know what? I'm very proud of Tommy.
Listen to The Drive, weekdays starting at 5 p.m. on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. And now, another out-of-context moment from the Thom Abraham Show that sounds dirty.
I was actually trained as a plumber, so I know my way around a pipe here and there.
Stay tuned for more from Thom on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Welcome back, Thom Abraham Show. Segment brought to you by North Alabama Mortgage. At North Alabama Mortgage, they've got the people there to get you through the process quickly and without stress. That's the whole thing we're looking for in a mortgage company, right? No stress. Whether you're getting a mortgage in Alabama or in Tennessee or in Florida, they got conventional VA, FHA, USDA loans. If there's a loan out there, they got that loan for you. They can help you with your purchase or your refinance, and they'll get you through it for whatever reason. You want to cash out, maybe for home renovations, maybe for college expenses. My son in his senior year now over at UAH. I'm so proud of him because he has paid for every dime of his education through scholarships and loans or cash. He just scratched a check for whatever was left over for this first semester of his senior year. Very cool. Good job by him. I think it's the right way for kids, to be honest with you. I think parents who just write the checks for the kids, it's like going to high school, and they could quit too easy. I don't like it. All right, when we return, Connor O'Gara is back from Saturday Down South next, right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Wes Neighbors sitting here with Ann Adams. Ann, I understand you have some exciting news.
Yes, Wes, I do. Berkshire Hathaway Home Services was just recognized in the 30th Annual Harris Poll Equitrin as the Real Estate Agency Brand of the Year and the most trusted real estate brand.
That is awesome news, Ann. Great companies in Huntsville, Alabama, winning awards is what we want. Is it a great time to list your home?
Yes, it is. The inventory is low and the market is heating up.
And I understand you're also looking for agents.
I am. We are so busy, Wes, we need agents to keep up with the demand.
Ann Adams and Rise Real Estate has been doing business in North Alabama for the last 35 years. If you want to do business with someone you can trust, she has been writing contracts since she was 9 years old. Call Ann today at 256-337-2625.
Guys, when we were 20, we never had to worry about spontaneity. And now that we've gotten older, spontaneity has been replaced with pills and injections. We're just trying to keep that intimacy, but it's taken away from spontaneity. At Advanced Life Clinic, we now offer GainsWave, which uses sound waves to non-invasively treat this issue with no need for pills or injections. Just give us a call, 256-888-9367, or check us out online, advancedlifeclinic.com.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Hey, this is Justin with the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill. We'd like to invite you to North Alabama's premier patio bar and grill, where at the factory, we have something going on each and every night. Monday night, steak night. Tuesday night, karaoke. Wednesday night, the Jeep community comes out for Jeep Jam. Thursday, it's bike night, the biggest in the valley. Friday and Saturday, live concerts on our 4,000 square foot patio, along with drink specials and a beautiful staff. What are you waiting on? We will see you at the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill.
Tired of the same old menu options everywhere you go? Then you need to try Metro Diner in Huntsville and Madison. The award-winning Metro Diner serves up signature dishes like their Charleston shrimp and grits, famous fried chicken and waffles with strawberry butter, and lots more. Their entire menu is available anytime, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And stop by for brunch on Saturday or Sunday and enjoy the lowest price mimosas in town. Airport Road, Huntsville, and Highway 72 in Madison. In diner or at home, make it Metro Diner.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. This just in. Bills receivers Cole Beasley and Gabriel Davis will miss the next 5 days of practice after being deemed close contacts of a team trainer who tested positive for COVID-19. Both players tested negative for the virus this morning, but must miss practice anyways per the NFL's COVID-19 policy. Beasley, the Bills' second leading receiver last season, has been among the most vocal critics of the league's COVID policy. Bears rookie quarterback Justin Fields will start Saturday's preseason finale. Coach Matt Nagy says Andy Dalton will not play. Confirmation from Nagy today that Dalton is Chicago's Week 1 starter. Jags running back Travis Etienne's out indefinitely with a mid-foot sprain, reports ESPN's Adam Schefter. From ESPN's Adam Rittenberg, the ACC, Big Ten, and Pac-12 will announce their alliance today at 2 Eastern. The alignment will focus on the college football playoff expansion proposal, NCAA governance, and scheduling.
Leaving his mark on sports talk radio with a paddle.
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
Join West Neighbors weekday afternoons on The Drive, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You need to be more like a dog.
Like what you guys are doing. You've got your fingertip on the pulse of your listeners. You guys know what they're talking about.
Be a dog.
God bless the show. You are the Messiah.
We need more dogs.
This is the best show on radio.
The big dog, Thom Abraham, is here with you.
Hey, I see you. I see you, dog.
So settle in and get your bark on.
That's my dog.
Now live, here he is, the big dog.
Let's go, baby!
Thom Abraham.
How you doing? 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 How you doing?
Look, I don't speak Spanish.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm going to choose my words very carefully. I think you're a psycho.
Do you know who I am?
I mean, that guy sounds like El McPherson farting into Miles Davis' trumpet.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond? Get off my
I have to drag my Yankee ass out of here.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of the Thom Abraham Show. Glad that you are with us. This segment brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford. At Woody Anderson Ford, you get your vehicle serviced. Doesn't have to be a Ford. When you get down there, you're going to find these unbelievable service lanes, and the shop looks like a NASCAR garage, to be quite honest with you. And when they take, when you find people that take pride in their environment like that, you know they're going to take pride in making sure that your vehicle gets serviced properly. Make your appointment, whether it's a Ford or not. Make your appointment for Woody Anderson Ford. All right, joining us now on the Neighbors Wealth Management. I'm a little bit worried about the O'Gara family right now. I got to be quite honest with you, because Ryan, who we had on last week, Ryan covers the 10, and Connor covers the SEC, and I'm just afraid that this could create a little bit of angst at the Thanksgiving table. You know what I mean? That this alliance and the SEC, I'm not sure what's going on here. I don't know if Ryan is a part of the alliance and Connor is a part of the evil empire now. I don't know. So joining us now is Connor O'Gara on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Connor, welcome to the show. How are you, and how are things in the family right now?
I'm doing well. I'm going to put your brain in a pretzel. I went to a Big Ten school. My brother did not. And my brother lives in an SEC town, and I do not. So try that one on for size.
That's crazy. I knew that you came out of Big Ten country, but I thought that your brother did as well. So he didn't go to a Big Ten school?
So he was a first baseman at Valparaiso.
Okay.
He's a scholarship baseball player. So his background is a little bit more sports driven. He was going to go to Illinois, and then at the last second, he kind of went off and did a typical Ryan thing at the last minute and become an all-state baseball player as a senior in Illinois, and then he gets some Division I interest, and then he goes on to be able to play some baseball at Valpo. But yeah, he's been entrenched in all things Big Ten, despite the fact that he lives in Lexington. His wife actually works at the University of Kentucky within the communications department at the School of Medicine. So, we just have everything covered. That's the way I like to think of it.
You guys are all messed up. I like the way I positioned it better, though. I mean, for my listeners, I like to have them to think that, Ryan and Connor are at each other's throats because, one's the Big Ten and one's the SEC, so, but I guess you just blew that all to hell. I just want you to know that, so.
We have good discussions on a weekly basis, and Ryan will call and we'll talk, probably at least once a week, and I'll throw out just kind of an idea, and he gives me the Big Ten perspective, which, I'm still involved in, but, more so on the SEC side now. And we'll have good, healthy discussions. Every once in a while, we'll butt heads a little bit, I'll be honest, with, as Ohio State being overrated, despite the fact that it's had this shortened schedule. And, is Alabama really as good as everybody's saying? And, is the SEC worthy of having all these teams in playoff consideration? So we'll talk about that stuff. I mean, we don't agree on everything, but, we're just well-versed, well-traveled, young adult males who have a good pulse, I think, on college football.
Why does the 10 need this aggravation? They don't need no stinking alliance. I mean, they're the 10. They've got as much money, make as much money as the SEC. Maybe don't have as much national championships, maybe not the depth of conference, but I would think that the Big Ten, in interest of the Big Ten, would be more apt to try and grab a couple of teams and get up to 16 as well, and be the SEC just north. You know what I mean? It seems odd. They don't need the Pac-12 or even the ACC, do they?
This is like when you go to a new school, and Kevin Warren is the person who is going to a new school, and he shows up at the new school, and he goes to the playground, and Big Bag Greg Sankey is the biggest, toughest dude around. And Kevin Warren takes one look at him and goes, "Wow, I have no chance of being able to hang around with this guy. And this guy's going to give me all sorts of problems. I can't get any bigger. Genetics not necessarily on my side in the same sort of way. And I need some friends. I can't go about this alone." So if you're Kevin Warren right now, you're trying to look at this and say, we need to be better equipped to handle the SEC because it just got more powerful. It just widened the gap between the SEC widened the gap between itself and the Big Ten. And the only other move for the Big Ten, and Paul Feinbaum said this one, I had him on my show last week, the only other move to make sense to go to 16 if you're the Big Ten is breaking up the Pac-12 and getting Oregon and USC to come on board. But then that is things associated with the Rose Bowl, and for whatever reason, the Big Ten to the Rose Bowl is like what the local police officers are to the mob. I mean, there's just some weird stuff there that's never going away. So, yeah, you could look at this and say the Big Ten doesn't need these two conferences, but this is about trying to respond to what the SEC did and trying to just be aligned and walk step for step with these other conferences with scheduling and maybe get these TV rights things in place for non-conference packages, stuff like that. But it's weird. It's weird in every way you look at it.
If I'm a Big Ten fan or fan of a team in the Big Ten, I'm concerned about my commissioner. Of course, I've been concerned about my commissioner since he took the gig, maybe. But to me, Kevin Warren looks weak on this. In that, does he feel like? Does he not realize what he's sitting on top of? That this is the Big Ten. That they would be better off being aggressors than joining an alliance with two lesser conferences. That's the way I would think as a Big Ten fan.
Well, think about this too, though. If you just sit back and do nothing, which if the SEC doesn't do this move, Kevin Warren's not doing anything right now.
Right.
Kevin Warren is probably getting up there in front of the SEC or the Big Ten media rather, and talking about how they're eventually going to have a plan for COVID, and he's trying to just backpedal as much as possible. But instead, he feels compelled to do something, because you can't probably just sit there and be like, "Yep, we're going to add Iowa State and Kansas." We feel like we just strengthened the brand. Well, the SEC just got Texas and Oklahoma. So they're trying to look at this in a way of, we're avoiding the loss on this. We're doing whatever we can to try and avoid this scenario in which our brand is hurt and people realize that the SEC just strengthened itself. And so they're trying to do this via numbers, and they want to have more voice, and they want to be able to look at that 41-16 number and say, we are more powerful, we are united, we are in agreement with all things college football moving forward. It'll be easier said than done, and we'll wait and kind of see how this plays out with if the coaches are going to be allowed to move from one Pac-12 job to a Big Ten job, like how all that's going to work. I don't know, but this thing is it's unprecedented, that's for sure.
Conor Ruggiero with us from Saturday Down South. Now, the number keeps being 41. I don't know. I haven't written it down and checked my math. Is the one Notre Dame? Because you never hear about it. It always is just the alliance of these three conferences. Is this these three conferences plus Notre Dame?
I think there would be something with Notre Dame with the scheduling that they have set up with the ACC, although Notre Dame wouldn't be joining them.
Yeah.
It would just be aligned with the ACC. I don't know. I mean, I've lost track of it at this point. I think Notre Dame, the idea of joining a conference is gone. I think they have the best possible setup with the ACC agreement that they have and the TV rights deal that they have with NBC, and that's why they've been able to function as an independent as long as they have, whereas you look at the Big 12 and the way that this is breaking down, man, those 8 teams, if they don't get picked up, which it doesn't look like that's going to happen, I don't know what they do. Oklahoma State can't function as an independent. Kansas can't function as an independent. There are questions that are going to need to be answered. I don't know if the American wants to go out and get all these conferences to join and kind of create the premier group of 5 conference when, quite frankly, I think the American already is the premier group of 5 conference. So I don't know. There are a lot of moving pieces left, and I think that we're going to find out a lot more answers to this in the next few weeks.
It would add juice to the American, and it would add size to the American, and it would put the American in a position that is between the Big Four, which would be the 4 power conferences, and the group of 4, if you will. It would be different. I mean, there's no doubt that with TCU and Baylor and Kansas State added to what you already have, several top 25 teams. You got a top 10 team in Cincinnati. You've got a team just on the outside looking in, maybe in UCF with a big-time coach. So I think that if you did add those teams, the 8, I call them the crumbling 8. If you added the crumbling 8 to the 11, right now that's a 19-team conglomerate that is called the American, all in a pretty similar footprint already because they're already into Texas and those parts of the Midwest and so on. That Tulsa-Oklahoma State thing could be really, really cool. I think it makes them a different conference. I don't know what you call them. I don't know if you call them Power 5 or a super group of 1 or what, but it does put them in a spot that's definitely not Sun Belt, MAC, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's college football purgatory. That's what it would be.
Yeah,
and
good point. Yeah.
If you're trying to, as the American Conference, elevate your status to being respected in the same way that the Power 5 is respected, I don't know that move really does that, though. Because if these other Power 5 conferences weren't willing to reach out a hand and say, TCU, why don't you come on board? Why don't you join us? Iowa State, you need a home. Come here. Come to this conference. If they're not moving the needle for those other power conferences, then I don't know how much that changes the AAC brand. Because they're already the best group of 5 conference. I think they are. I think what Cincinnati is on the brink of doing this year. I have Cincinnati going to the college football playoff this year and running the table in the regular season. And what UCF has been able to do in the past, and even programs like Memphis as well. In Houston, people forget about Houston, what they were in the first part, 5 years ago.
A couple of years ago, yeah.
I look at that and I say, well, this is still the premier Group of 5 conference. That's not going to change if Kansas State is all of a sudden on board. So I don't know. It's just a weird spot to be in, and perhaps that's why we haven't seen significant movement from these Group of 5 teams like, the AAC.
How do we define Power 5? How are they not a Power 5 conference at 19 with all of those teams in there that you just ran down? I mean, I don't know what makes a Power 5 at that point. I mean, TV deals, tie-ins to bowls, access to the playoff, things like that. Who is it that determines that whether or not a 19-team American is a Power 5 conference or not?
I think you look at what they've done on the national stage, and I think that's the tougher argument to make. Because you could say, well, the American has been essentially equal to the Pac-12 in terms of playoff significance, New Year's Six Bowl significance, but there's nobody in the American that has a brand like USC or Oregon. Right. That's just not the case. And I think that we're still kind of figuring out what that looks like overall. And 10 years from now, who knows what we're going to be calling the Power 5? Could it just be the Power 2? Could it just be the SEC versus everyone else who has joined in this alliance, and they're all in one conference? I don't know.
So what you're
really
saying
don't
is,
know, and I think
what you're saying is that what made Baylor and TCU Power 5 teams for the last several years was the association with Oklahoma and Texas. Basically, that's what you're saying, right?
I mean,
It's because they had Oklahoma and Texas.
Otherwise, the Big 12 would be able to exist, and the Big 12 wouldn't need to disband, and the Big 12 would just look and say, all right. Cincinnati, UCF, or Cincinnati, Houston, whatever, come on board, and we'll get to 10. We'll not necessarily be the same that we were with Oklahoma and Texas, but we'll still be able to negotiate a TV rights deal. No big deal, but it kind of looks like the AAC is, at least some of these conferences or some of these teams rather, are standing pat. And I thought we would have seen more. Maybe we're going to find out more that Cincinnati is making a legitimate push, or that UCF is. I couldn't tell you, but it seems like we're all just kind of waiting for what's going to break down with this, and then everybody else is going to have to react with the alliance and some of the scheduling limitations and whatnot with all of that.
Yeah, Connor Guerra with us from Saturday Down South. All right, here's a semi-goofy idea from a listener who is born and reared in SEC country, who spent about 5 years living in Big 12 country, and then now is back in SEC country. Does it... I'm just going to throw it out there because he threw it out there, and it's a little bit intriguing. Now that there's going to be a 41-team alliance, what about the SEC saying, yeah, come on, we'll take all of you. Take the rest of those guys and bring them all in, too, and creating a 25-team SEC or a 25-team alliance with the SEC, if you will. Does that make any sense?
No, doesn't move the needle. Doesn't. Yeah. There's a reason why the SEC was picky, and I think that going after Texas and Oklahoma and pulling off the heist that they did, it speaks to the desire to strengthen the brand of the program and of the SEC. And this is about winning national championships. It's about showing that without question, getting through this league is a gauntlet. And the SEC is holding on to that, and it will continue to do so. And that's why I don't think it makes sense to expand just for the sake of expansion. The SEC could have done that a long time ago. They've had the TV deal in place. They've had the network in place. They don't need to. They simply don't. The SEC can get by with being the premier conference, and that's going to continue when this alliance goes into effect, and we're trying to figure out what playoff expansion looks like. There's just no doubt about it that when Texas and Oklahoma come to the SEC, that one conference before the season, in the middle of the season, and at the end of the season is going to be viewed as the best in college football, and it's the SEC.
It also exposes that the Big 12 with 10 teams has been a mirage. It's been a glorified Group of 5 conference with 2 really solid programs. Because you pull those programs out and then you look at it. You look at the number of draft picks that they have. I think 7 per team as opposed to like 20 per team for the SEC over the last 5 years. I mean, it just shows that it's really nothing more than another Group of 5 conference outside of 2 programs. So that the Big 12 was really the Big 2 is what that was. All right, so to what the point is of the alliance, One thing that drives me crazy on a national, when you listen to the national pundits that aren't really in the SEC or don't understand what the Greg Sankey is all about, they think that Greg Sankey is the one that was driving this expansion to 12. I hear this all the time in the college football playoff. He's one of the one of the movers and the shakers on that committee, and that he was the one. This is what he wants so that he can get 6 teams in the playoff and so on. And Greg Sankey came on this very show, sat down and said, by the way, Tom, I want you to know, I'm fine with 4. I'd like 4. We get 1 every year. Sometimes we get 2. I'm good with 4. That's the funny thing. People think that Greg Sankey wants this 12-team playoff, and nothing can be further from the truth.
Imagine looking at the last 15 years of college football, realizing that the SEC has won 11 of the last 15 national championships. Looking at the college football playoff, the 14 field, the SEC has won 4 of those 7 titles, and thinking to yourself, you know who really needs to see this expansion through is the SEC. It couldn't be me. I would never throw that out there. That's a ridiculous thought to have. It's the Big Ten who needs this. I mean, it's the Big Ten. It's pretty simple. The Big Ten has struggled to have that elite team, and they have had years in which they could have 4 teams in a 12-team playoff. And if they're doing something with this delayed expansion, or if they're doing something with the new rules of the 12-team field in which they're only allowed to have 3 teams per conference in the field, they're going to be hurting themselves by doing that, because the Big Ten has had those years, and the SEC also has had those years. The difference is that the SEC has also been able to get it done on the playoff stage, whereas the Big Ten has struggled to do that. I mean, 1 win in the playoff era after Ohio State won the very first playoff era national championship in 2014. That's what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
And the SEC has run laps around the competition with the exception of Clemson, and that is reality. And until that changes, the Big Ten doesn't really have a leg to stand on.
And what, the Pac-12, 2 teams that have made it. Oregon made it 1 year, won a game. Washington made it 1 year, got whacked by Alabama. That's it. So they've had 2 teams in the playoff in the 7-year history of the playoff, and none of them are USC. So, that's a whole other issue when it comes to that. And the idea of one of the things that this alliance is going to do is they're going to vote as a block to limit 3 teams from any one conference in this 12-team playoff, as you say, not only hurts them, they're trying to stop the SEC from having 4, 5, 6, I guess, in the playoff, but it also totally goes against the whole idea of putting the 12 best together. Now, we already know that they were doing that a little bit with access to the highest-ranked, group of 5 teams, so, okay, that's one thing. But now you're going to leave teams home just because the conference has reached their max? I mean, that's just nuts. I mean, we're back to just kind of picking teams. I mean, it's crazy.
The Big Ten can complain about, there's this SEC bias with the playoff selection committee and all these different things. But you're right. If that is the scenario, and if you're holding a conference back and saying, you know what, no more than 3, that's comical. Not all conferences are created equal. They're just not. And we have years and decades worth of proof to show exactly that. And the fact that the Big 12 hasn't won a national championship since Vince Young scampered into the end zone and watched the confetti fall on him, and the fact that the Pac-12 hasn't won a national title since USC had Matt Leinart and Reggie Bush, that tells you what you need to know right there. And that to me is one of these things that isn't going to get brought up, because, there's got to be some bias. There's got to be some agenda as to why this hasn't worked out for our specific conference. And it's about playing football games. It's about playing football games, winning them on the national stage, and the SEC has done that better than anybody, and it's not even close.
I think, actually, USC is the only team out of the Pac-12 in the last 60 years. I call it the big dog era. Since I've been born in 1960, USC is the only team out of the Pac-12 to win a national championship. I mean, it's just not that kind of a conference. People think without USC, it's kind of like the Big 12 without, Oklahoma and Texas. You pull USC out of there, and that's a whole lot of nothing out there, to be quite honest with you, even though Oregon's had this nice run in the Nike era, if you will. So then the other thing is scheduling. Are they going to block? So are they not going to schedule against the SEC? Is that what they're going to do? I mean, Georgia and Clemson can never play again, or are they going to just not schedule? Are they going to pull the Florida State game? Are they going to pull the Georgia Tech game? I mean, what are they going to try and accomplish there by isolating themselves from the SEC if that's what their thought process is. I don't know what that means.
That's what that looks like. And remember last year when we were talking about the conference-only schedules and 1 year of not having Florida State, 1 year that Georgia and Georgia Tech aren't going to play? This is ridiculous. Imagine canceling that for good.
Yeah.
You're going to have some issues with that. You're going to have a lot of pushback and people that have a stake in those games and need to see those rivalries played on a yearly basis. And I think that the scheduling thing is wild, because if Ohio State is going to cancel matchups with Alabama, or all of a sudden Oklahoma isn't going to be allowed to play Michigan or Nebraska or something like that, and instead Nebraska's like, oh well, instead of that big game against Oklahoma, we'll schedule Arizona State. Like, sell that to your fan base. Actually, Nebraska's a bad example, because Lord knows they were trying to get out of that Oklahoma game this offseason, so that's probably not the best one to give. They would take that. They would welcome that with open arms, but it's strange. And if they're really going to block out the SEC from a scheduling standpoint, cool. The SEC is going to continue to do its thing. It's got enough teams within the conference to rack up quality wins. Nobody's changing their impression of the SEC based on that. And it's just going to come down to bowl season, and it's going to be kind of an us versus them type of thing for the SEC. And I wouldn't bet on that dynamic changing anytime soon.
Oh, by the way, we in the SEC now get Texas A&M, Arkansas, Texas, LSU, Oklahoma. I mean, oh my gosh! Look at the rivalries, the added rivalries. I saw an article. I don't know if it might have been on your site, that said something about like 15 of the 20 greatest rivalries in college football are all now in the SEC. When you add Oklahoma and Texas, which is its own rivalry as well. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. So if by chance we lose the Clemson-South Carolina game or the Florida State game, I will take the Arkansas, Texas LSU, Texas A&M. I'll take all of those games as SEC games, and we'll be just fine.
It's a net positive. It still is. I mean, this is ridiculous if those conferences think that they're going to hold the SEC hostage in these spots. I mean, it's just not going to happen. The SEC will be just fine, and they'll adjust their conference schedule. And if it means just having a 10-game conference schedule to match the amount of Power 5 opponents or whatever, and then just having 2 Group of 5 teams, Group of 5, and an FCS, then that'll be the future of it. And the SEC will just kind of continue to move forward, but there's simply no move right now for any of these conferences to make that's going to hurt the SEC.
Yeah, and finally, I will say this, though. I do see a scenario where this sets up a future total breakaway from what we've called Division I football right now. I do see a scenario where the SEC Super Conference and the alliance of 41 teams, I can see a scenario where all of that gets together and they take in those 60 or 65 teams, whatever it is, are something different than what the NCAA shows us right now and what we call Division I football right now. I could see something like that happening on the horizon. I think that's the next big threshold.
I think so too, and I think that there's going to be a push to, as Matt Hayes, my colleague at Saturday Down South, has said many a time, everybody's getting ready for the pay-for-play era, and that's happening later in this decade.
Yeah.
And they're trying to figure out the best possible way to position themselves with TV contracts, maximizing those opportunities, and setting themselves up to be able to handle that, because players are going to want money. You can't negotiate $1 billion TV contract in the way that they're going to with the playoff boom and all this expansion and whatnot, and say, there's just not enough.
Yeah.
In the NIL era, that's just not going to fly, and I think that's the big transition that we're all setting ourselves up for.
Yeah, you can't tell the player, hey, yeah, but you get free barbecue. You know what I mean? Down at say, no, that ain't going to be enough. I'm sorry. You're right. Connor O'Gara has been our guest. All right, man. Great stuff. Great coverage as always at Saturday Down South. It is on like Donkey Kong right now. I mean, we got Saturday. We got real live Group of 5 and Power 5 games on Saturday. We got a Big Ten game on Saturday between Nebraska and Illinois, if you will. So it's on now, man, and I appreciate you so much, and I appreciate you coming by every once in a while and joining us.
Absolutely. We're in mid-season form. Can't wait for a full year of getting to talk some ball.
All right, man. Appreciate you. Thank you. Connor O'Gara. We're really lucky to have him, too. I mean, he's a regular on a lot of national shows, and we're lucky that he and I, get along to the point where he has never once even hesitated to come on this show. And he's on Feinbaum every other week, and so he's on our air with Paul, but he has never hesitated to come on the show, and I appreciate him for it so much. He is just great. All right, let's get a break in here. We'll go open lines the rest of the way. So if you want to jump on the phone lines, you can do it right now. 256-576-4977. I had some communication earlier today with Hollywood via text, and he said some interesting things about this coming DFL draft on Thursday night. And I think he has it kind of spurred an idea that I had to honor a couple of great former listeners to the Thom Abraham Show with the DFL. I want to get you guys' take on that next if you want to weigh in on that. Plus, we still have a top 10. We have got in honor of David John Ugalele, who is the quarterback, as you know, as DJ Ukulele, as I call him. DJ Ugalele. I figured out how to say Ugalele. I practiced it yesterday. He is the Clemson quarterback. I don't want to disrespect the kid. So it's DJ Ugalele. I learned how to say Tunga Viola. I could say Ugalele. Anyway, in honor of that kid, I researched some of the best names ever in the history of college football, and I've got that list in front of me as well. We'll get all of that in the final 25 minutes of the show right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Simple Green is perfect for making your auto, RV, cycling, boating, and other sporting equipment look like new. Visit them at simplegreen.com.
NFL MVP odds for 2021. Patrick Mahomes, the early favorite. The Chiefs QB at plus 500 with Aaron Rodgers at plus 800. Josh Allen plus 1,000 and Tom Brady plus 1,200. Early odds for the 2022 Stanley Cup. The Colorado Avalanche, the early favorite at plus 500. The Tampa Bay Lightning at plus 575. Vegas Golden Knights at plus 700. Then the Toronto Maple Leafs at plus 1,200 and the Boston Bruins at plus 1,300. Early odds also released Monday for the 2022 NBA Championship with the Brooklyn Nets, the favorite at plus 250. Lakers behind them at plus 350, defending champion Milwaukee plus 850, and the Warriors at plus 1,000.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Never mind fall and football being in the air. We want to taste it.
And never mind not being able to tailgate at the game. Let's create the ultimate barbecue experience in your own backyard.
You said it, Foster Brooks, and that's where Brooks & Collier comes in. Big selection of outdoor furniture.
And a big selection of grills and smokers like Traeger, Big Green Egg, Blaze, even DCS, and more.
This is the good stuff.
And Paul, we definitely got the accessories. And remember, we deliver. Visit us at 813 Meridian Street and shop online at brooksandcollier.com.
Sitting here with Ann Adams of Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Rise Real Estate. Is it a good time to sell your home, Ann?
Yes, it is. We have people relocating from all over the country.
Why should we choose Rise Real Estate?
Well, we've been selling real estate in North Alabama for 36 years and have sold more real estate than any other real estate company, period.
Do you help your customers through the entire process?
Yes, our agents are with you during the whole process from start to finish, from beginning to end.
In your relocation services, you have a whole team.
Yes, we have a dedicated relocation department helping customers move seamlessly into the area.
Ann Adams has been writing contracts for the last 36 years. She has the experience to help you list and sell your home, downsize your home, or help pick the perfect spot north of Alabama for you to build a future.
Call Ann Adams at 256-337-2625 or on the web at www.bhhsriserealestate.com. McCurry Motors is your car and van rental headquarters. You can rent the vehicle you need today. Family in town, sporting event, church function, no matter what your need, McCurry Motors has you covered with a wide selection of cars and vans available for rent. They have 12-passenger Mercedes Sprinter vans, 12-passenger Ford Transit vans, 15-passenger Ford Transit vans, and 15-passenger Chevrolet Express vans. They have 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You know, you'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
From the WZDX Pinpoint Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly sunny sky this afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the lower 90s. Heat indices climbing into the upper 90s, lower triple digits. No rain in the forecast. That's going to stick with us as we head into the overnight. Temperatures dropping into the lower 70s, a clear sky. We're essentially going to repeat this process for your Wednesday. A mostly sunny sky. Temperatures hanging out in the lower 90s. Heat indices hanging out in the upper 90s and lower triple digits with no rain. Next opportunity for rain doesn't move into the Tennessee Valley until we get to Thursday. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Chuck Oliver. Listen to me coming up today at noon. Now back to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
How's things been going with the video, Grizz? It seems like everything is held up. You haven't had a reboot 62,000 times? Or have you? I think...
Not that I know of.
I think that...
I think it's seen it once. I think it reboot once in between the first and second hour.
I wonder if I got kicked off of Facebook because I have been sharing the show to my Facebook account, and there's this issue sometimes about music, and you know how they stop us every once in a while and they say, you're using music that you don't have permission to use.
Yeah, like on your page or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, which we're allowed to do for 40 seconds. You know, that's the contract that you have with ASCAP. That's a radio thing, but you're allowed to use 40 seconds or 45 seconds of any kind of music without having to pay a special fee for it. We do pay money to use bump music. But having said that, and a lot of stations just use their own generic bump music. I got so many kids in music, I could probably come up with a whole palette of music that is not, but we like using, some of the music that you guys are familiar with and so on, the Southern rock that I like to bump the show with. But we do get locked down every once in a while or kicked off every once in a while where you can't see a video at the station's Facebook page. Well, that's a business Facebook page. I wonder on a personal page like mine whether or not they just got fed up with me and said, no, because you were doing that, they locked me out. Could that happen? The hell do I know if that can happen?
I don't know. I think he would have. That's the thing. They don't really monitor it too much. Because I know, like in the streaming world, like if you do Twitch or if you do Facebook gaming,
shut down 3 times a day. They monitor enough for that.
Yeah, well, especially Facebook gaming, I think they crack down a little harder than Twitch does. Because like a lot of times you can see people all the time playing music that not necessarily supposed to be streaming, and they have it on their stream while they're playing, and nobody says anything or they don't get cracked down or whatever. I think as long as you don't post it or as long as you're not like monetizing off of it, I think a lot of times I think you're good. I mean, as long as you're not making money off of it, I think a lot of times you're fine. But you should. And I know a lot of times if you post anything on YouTube, and I've done it before, I play a game where a lot of people like to use a soundboard and they play like music in the background or whatever. Even like 5 seconds or 10 seconds of that music, I've been flagged before, and I had to delete the video. I was like, well, that's stupid. Now I have to delete that whole part, or I can't post the video at all because someone played music inside my video.
Well, I have no ability to post anything on Facebook right now. So, Grizz, maybe you for me.
I'm always reposting.
You don't have to repost. You got to start a post. Maybe you could post something for me on this on the stations. I wish I could use my account because I have several thousand followers myself, and they're very interactive, but I don't have that ability now. But maybe you can post something on there about inviting listeners to come down and participate in the Doghouse Fantasy League. This is the 15th year. It's the 15th anniversary of the Doghouse Fantasy League. And this year's draft, live draft, we didn't have one last year. We didn't do it last year. But this year's live draft will be held at Baumhauer's on Thursday night during the drive. And we're going to try and get started at 5:30. We're on the patio at Baumhauer's on the South Memorial Parkway. Okay? I would love for people to let me know. I've got about 10 or 12 or more people that have let me know so far that they are going to be there to participate in this draft. But if you can be there, we will set up as many teams as many leagues as we need to set up. So we'll either have one league, no bigger than 12, that would have 2 divisions, or if we get 20 people, we'll have 2 10-team leagues. All right, or we'll have multiple leagues. We'll have 3 leagues, however many leagues. I've told the story time and time again. Had 120 players. One time I had 12 10-team leagues in Florida. That was a long time ago. But having said all of that, Hollywood, who wants in, Hollywood was saying, hey, I want to be at the draft and remind me again when it is and so on. Hollywood was introduced to all of this through The Undertaker. Now, Grizz, your background with the show only goes back a couple of years, since I've been back with 97.7 ESPN The Zone. However, you may or may not have listened to the show in the past when I was on the other station. But the reality is that this DFL, this Doghouse Fantasy League, goes back a long time. As I said, this is the 15th anniversary of it. And Hollywood was always very, very involved in the league. I mean, he was into it in a big way. So he was like, well, we ought to do something to honor Hollywood, or to honor Undertaker, he said. You know what I mean? We ought to do something to honor Undertaker in the league. And I started thinking about it, and I said, well, if we have 2 divisions, if we have 2 leagues, let's shoot for 2 leagues. Let's get back to having 2 leagues at least. If we shoot for 2 leagues, what if we had the Undertaker League and the Bamazak League? Because Bamazak was a big fantasy guy. I played in a bunch of leagues that Hollywood is in. Bamazak used to play fantasy with us. He was in DFLs in the past. If we have one league, maybe we'll make a Undertaker division and a Bamazak division. How cool would that be? I mean, I think that would be a great idea. We'll call one the Undertaker division, and we'll call one the Bamazak division. And we'll honor 2 guys that have been big-time supporters not only of the show, but of fantasy in the, in the DFL. Let me get Shane Sean in here. Shane Sean, how'd you like that 15-second wait?
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I mean, literally, that's awesome.
What's going on?
So you don't know why they put you in Facebook jail?
I have no idea why I'm in Facebook jail. I might have just been. I locked
They
myself
tell you,
out.
though.
No, it just says that. It just says that I can't go. I can't go. It didn't say anything about telling. So it might be just a matter of we've been trying to get back in so many times, and I've tried so many different passwords.
Locked yourself out. If you was in Facebook jail, they'd send you a notification and show you the comment or post why. Because I'm in Facebook jail too, but mine is for absolutely ridiculous reason. A buddy of mine, me and him was talking on a turkey hunting page, and this new guy chimed in and said, I've never killed a turkey and I want to. Should I use a guide or try to do it myself? And I simply put, I said, do it yourself. Learn the hard way. You'll learn more from it, and you will appreciate killing your first turkey, doing it on your own rather than somebody else doing it for you. And they said I was bullying, and now they give me 30 days in Facebook jail.
They said you were bullying?
Yep.
Because you were giving a guy advice?
Yep.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. It said something. At the time that we saw that we were locked out of the account, my son was on my laptop. I was standing over there. I see the guys that are watching the show. I was standing over there. I was over by the fish tank. I was standing over there, and he was doing it, and then he comes in, he says, "You're locked out, man. You're just going to have to wait and see what happens." So I'm going to wait a couple of days and see if I can get back in. I know what I did. I had realized there was some ridiculous email address that was the email. It was the email address of the company that I used to work for in Nashville 12, 13 years ago. And it was like, why is that now associated to my account? And it might have been because my account was started from that building, but it was never on there before. So I went to try and change the password. I changed the password, and then it asked me to re-enter the password to go into my account. And I think I might have hit a button wrong. I made a password. The password was a phishing password. I made it a password, and maybe my fat fingers hit a number wrong or something like that. So I don't know what the hell I changed the password to.
You would have to do that more than one time, though. It would have to be like 3 times in a row within a certain amount of time. Well, hey, y'all two, you and Chad are seriously going to have to help me through this fantasy thing. I've never done a fantasy nothing
piece of cake
ever. So y'all two are going to have to show me the rope because I know nothing about it. I just thought it'd be a good way. Now that I'm working in Huntsville and I get off at 5 o'clock, that would be perfect.
Yeah.
To, at 5:30, I can actually get up and meet up with y'all guys.
Yeah. Let me give you one suggestion. Get a magazine. Just get a fantasy magazine so that you have it, because it'll have in the back of it. It'll have the rankings of all the quarterbacks, wide receivers, running backs, tight ends, defenses, kickers, and so on. So it'll have the rankings.
You're not getting it. I know I know that. I mean,
but the point is,
know who the players are and all that, but,
right?
And how good they are,
but you want a magazine so that you can cross out the picks.
I don't understand how fantasy football works.
Yeah, well, it's very, very simple. But you want to have a magazine so that you can cross out the pick, because you don't want to be the guy in the 4th round that says, "Is Nick Chubb been picked yet? Is he available?" No, don't do that. You want to write it. You want to scratch off the guys as their pick so you can pick next best available guy. But it's very simple. What'll happen is that after we have our live draft, you'll have a grid in front of you that Chad will make up. Everybody will have their grids in front of them, and so you can mark down your picks and everybody else's picks. And then every week online, you'll just go online to the account, which will be it'll be very set. You got to have a ESPN account, ESPN.com account. You'll go there and you'll set your team, and you'll pick a quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end or a flex position, which could be a tight end, running back, or wide receiver, a defense, and then the points that they get are the points that you'll get. It's very, very simple.
Oh, so you got to do it every week then. I mean,
but you can leave your team set up, but you don't want to necessarily do that, because if it's a bye week, you may want to change out a running back. So in other words, you're going to pick 4 running backs, and you're going to play 2 every week. So every week you're going to look at it and say, it's very easy to set your team each week.
Very easy.
I don't know about
it's
that.
very
I don't
easy.
even know who's playing and who's not each week.
You'll know because it sends you things. It'll say what the bye week is. It'll say that, like, say you have Nick Chubb on your team. It'll say, you'll get a notice. It says Cleveland Browns are on a bye this week. So you'll see a little red dot next to Nick Chubb that he's not playing this week. So you just take one of your other running backs that is playing, because it tells you who they're playing against and everything. The lineup, once you log in, it shows you your lineup and it shows you who they're playing against. So you could say, well, wait a minute, I want to run this quarterback against this team because this team sucks. This quarterback's playing the Jags and this quarterback's playing the Ravens. So maybe I'm going to play my second quarterback because he's going against the Jags instead of my first quarterback who's going against the Ravens. You know what I mean? So there's little strategy things like that. And listen to the show, because on Thursdays we have, we're going to have our guy Buddy Andre on from E2G Sports Fantasy.
I always listen to the show. There's not a day that goes by that I don't listen.
Well, I'll tell you what, this Thursday when we have Buddy Andre on, our fantasy expert from E2G Sports, we will do a primer on actually how to play fantasy for people who haven't played fantasy before. We'll do it that way.
Okay.
That'll be fun. All right. You just come. We'll get you figured out. You just come and be there. It's always the guy that knows nothing. Thanks for the call, Shane Shaw. Grizz, stop me if I'm lying. It's always that guy that doesn't know a damn thing about it that ends up winning the thing. I remember one year Hollywood picked a kicker in the first round. He picked a kicker in the first round, and he won the league that year.
Hey, I've seen people auto draft. My buddy's wife, her first year in the league,
team auto drafting.
She destroyed everybody. I mean, I've seen people win multiple times auto drafting. I mean, it happens. It definitely happens.
But don't confuse people because we're having a live draft. There'll be no auto drafting.
Yeah, there's no auto draft. We're writing it down like old men.
Yeah, we're gonna sit down like old men. See, the whole point of the DFL, the original point of the DFL, was to draw listeners to a remote. To our clients. So we've had this at Baumhauer's a number of times. They love it when we come out there because everybody's going to have a pop and they're going to have maybe eat lunch or eat dinner or whatever at so it's great it's a great way to support the restaurant. And when I started it with 50 teams, 60 teams, 120 teams in Florida, we would take over an entire restaurant, and it was great for the restaurant. So the reason we have a live draft, we're not doing this just to play fantasy, people. We're doing this also to support the people that support us. Without our sponsors, we got no show. Without our sponsors. Let's get a break. I'm going to come back and run down some great names from college football history for you in our Tuesday Top 10. We'll close with that next right here on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Chad, cue the cheesy Italian music. So you're in charge of the dinner spot, and the family is a hard group to please. Dad wants award-winning 21-day-age certified Angus beef. Mom craves authentic Italian food like great-grandma. Sissy pretty much won't eat anything but fresh seafood. And old life of the party, Uncle Walter, likes to enjoy a cigar after dinner with some live local entertainment and some killer cocktails. So you think you're in a pickle? Well, you're not. Relax. I'm Tom Chapman, chef at Nick's Ristorante at 10300 Bailey Cove Road, just south of Weatherly. We have all that and more. Our friendly and helpful staff is eager to help you Tuesday through Saturday, starting at 5. So, corral that crazy crew of yours and give us a call at 256-489-8280 or tell them to check us out at nicksristorante.com. I promise you, the gang will all think you're a culinary cruise director of awesomeness if you take them all to Nick's. See you soon. Ciao. Okay, Chad, kill that music.
Nick's is for patrons 19 or older.
Hey friends, Eli Gold here for Environmental Comfort Systems. If you're concerned about the air quality inside your home, give my friend Rick Smith a call at Environmental Comfort Systems. Their indoor air quality systems remove 99.9% of indoor air contaminants. Give the trusted professionals at Environmental Comfort Systems a call or visit them online at envcomfort.com and see how comfortable you can be. Breathe cleaner air today. Environmental Comfort Systems, Alabama license number 92314.
Steve Moulton here with Carrie Rosenblum from Rosenblum Realty. Carrie, for those looking to get their home on the market, what do they need to do?
Well, certainly give us a call, Steve. But what we'll do is come out, look at your home, but also give you, more importantly, what the market is doing about the value of your home, what it's going to bring, again, what the process is going to be to get you to eventually a closing table so you have real money to reinvest or do something else with. So that's very important to know you get to a closing table with no surprises. Call us at 256-539-9501 or rosenblumrealty.com.
I struggled with symptoms like frequent gas and stomach pain for years.
I was bloated all the time with daily diarrhea.
At first, I thought it was what I was eating.
I kept thinking it was stomach issues.
So I did my research and talked to my doctor, and we finally uncovered the truth.
It was actually EPI. Exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, is a condition where your pancreas is unable to help break down your food.
It can lead to symptoms like diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools.
And EPI symptoms can be confused with those of other common digestive conditions, like irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's, and celiac disease.
So getting to the right diagnosis meant being more open with my doctor about the severity of my symptoms and how often they were happening.
But there's good news. EPI is manageable, so don't wait any longer. Use the symptom checker at identifyepi.com and schedule a visit or call with your doctor to ask, could I have EPI?
Sponsored by AbbVie.
You know that there are some words that have really messed up our world. The devil, way back in Genesis, said, has God really said? Unfortunately, we often listen to those words of the devil. We question God's word. We often doubt God's goodness, and we make a mess for ourselves and so many others. Hey, let's honor the word of God for what it is. It is God's word. Let's follow it and be blessed by it. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of Cross Point Church, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison, and check us out at cpcfamily.org.
Hey, this is Justin with the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill. We'd like to invite you to North Alabama's premier patio bar and grill, where at the factory, we have something going on each and every night. Monday night, steak night. Tuesday night, karaoke. Wednesday night, the Jeep community comes out for Jeep Jam. Thursday, it's bike night, the biggest in the valley. Friday and Saturday, live concerts on our 4,000 square foot patio, along with drink specials and a beautiful staff. What are you waiting on? We will see you at the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill.
TOC Sports has been there for you. Now, you're probably asking yourself, what does that mean? It means for more than 20 years, Alabama's largest orthopedic group has been there providing coverage and care to more schools and student athletes in the Tennessee Valley than any other group. It means whether you are the star football player, the all-region volleyball ace, or someone who hurt their knee in a weekend pickup basketball game, TOC Sports physicians are proud to have the opportunity to care for all your orthopedic needs. It means for parents, coaches, athletes, desk jockeys, or even weekend warriors, TOC Sports physicians continue to meet and exceed the orthopedic and sports medicine needs of our community. But most importantly, during these challenging times, we're here for you now and will continue to be here. So as long as there are players on the field, games to be played, and contests to be won, the orthopedic specialists from TOC Sports will be ready to help. We don't know what the future holds, but you can count on the TOC Sports team to stay committed to you so you can stay in the game. Call 256-539-2728 today and ask to see a TOC Sports physician. Check them out online, also Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
People stay just a little bit longer. We want to play just a little bit longer.
Man, I wish I could stay Final segment here. Brought to you by TOC Sports. All you need for that issue that you might be having orthopedic-wise is TOC Sports. They've been taking care of us. Their docs are outstanding. They've been taking care of us for just years and years and years in this area, and they just do a tremendous job. And by the way, for those of you that wonder like what doctors think about the vaccine, because a lot of people, ask your doctor, see if he's taking it. He's suggesting you take it. Every doctor I've talked to, my own doctors, cardiologists, regular doctors, internists, and my doctors that are friends, the docs I talk to at TOC, they all say, yeah, no, they've all taken a vaccine. It's that, don't get nuts over this thing. All right, Grizz, I'm going to run down some names, okay? In honor of DJ Ugalele, all right, I'm going to run down some names and see if you remember any of these people. You already know somebody. How about Red Grange? How about that name? The Galloping Ghost, Red Grange. You know that name.
Oh,
right?
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, everybody knows Red. Keyshawn Johnson.
Of course.
Is on the
I
list.
hear him every morning.
How about this guy? Do you remember this guy? He was a Georgia Tech defensive back, Immaculate Perfection Harris.
I've heard that before.
Yeah, they call him
I've heard
iPerfect.
that one before.
Yeah, Immaculate Perfection
That's
Harris.
crazy.
How about this old Auburn wide receiver went on to play for the Cleveland Browns, Lawyer Tillman? You heard that name? Lawyer
It's been
Tillman.
a while, but no, I didn't know that one.
Lawyer Tillman had a great reverse in the Iron Bowl one year. Major Ogilvy.
Yeah.
Okay. Curly Culp from Arizona State was an NCAA wrestling champion and went on to be a great, great player in the NFL. Curly Culp. Here's one of recent vintage, Golden Tate. It's a good name.
That's a good one.
Golden Tate. He's from Tennessee and went to Notre Dame. John David Booty.
Yes.
Remember John David
Good
Booty,
name.
the quarterback?
Good name right there. Yeah.
Good name. Good name right there. Let's see some other ones that we might remember. Ben Jarvis Green Ellis. Remember this kid, Ben Jarvis Green Ellis?
Had him in fantasy, actually, one year. Actually, I think I had him in 2 years.
Yeah. Another lawyer, Lawyer Malloy. All right, there's another one. Of course, Boomer Esiason, quarterback at Maryland. And, of course, went on to fame in the NFL. Major Applewhite. There's another Major Applewhite. And we, of course, know of him with his time Texas and with Alabama. Prince Amukamara. That's a good name. Prince Amukamara.
That's a good one. That's
still playing in the NFL, isn't he? Out of Nebraska. Tim Biakabatuka. It was Shemenga Biakabatuka. We just call him Tim. Tim Biakabatuka. He was a running back out of Michigan. Great running back for Michigan.
I got one for you.
Yeah.
Lofa Tatupu.
Lofa Tatupu. Yeah, I remember Lofa Tatupu.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not on my list. I don't think he's on my list. DeBrickashaw Ferguson. Remember DeBrickashaw Ferguson?
That's a good name right there, DeBrickashaw. That's a great name.
That was a great name out of Virginia, offensive lineman. Billy Cannon from back in the day, LSU in the 50s. Billy Cannon, that's a cool name. Bronco Nagurski, he's on the list. Rock Cartwright, Newt Rockney. Newt Rockney. I mean, Newt. Who the hell is named Newt? Have you ever heard of anybody in your life named Newt?
No, I've
never
named a
Newt Rockney. Mercury Morris. There's another one. Mercury Morris played for the Dolphins with Jim Kick and Larry Zonka in the 70s. Mercury Morris played at West Texas State. And he was a fast running back. Mercury Morris. You don't remember Mercury Morris?
No, I do not. But I know a Ha Ha Clinton Dix, our Barkevius Mingo.
Barkevius Mingo.
Nick Toon.
How about Pistol Pete Pedro and Preacher Pilot?
Oh, my goodness. That's great. Earthwind Moreland.
Earthwind Moreland's a good one. Colt McCoy. Of course, Indoctamin Sue.
Dick Buckus.
Dick Buckus, great name. And my favorite all-time college football name, quarterback at Washington back in the early 70s. Went on to be an actor, Sonny Sixkiller.
Yes.
Oh, what a name. Sonny Sixkiller. All right, Chuck Oliver is next. I'm Thom Abraham. He's Chad. This is 97.7 ESPN The Zone.